Can't stop Kyle Larson right now. Driver number 5 is taking the summer by storm so far, winning his 3rd consecutive points-paying race in the NASCAR Cup Series. Welcome to Backseat Drivers. I'm Alex Weaver. Joining me here in studio, my favorite crew chief from Nashville to Studio 3, Steve Letarte, and a very special guest in honor of Music City. Over 20 million albums sold globally with his band Three Doors Down. Our early 2000s hearts are exploding right now. Frontman Brad Arnold. Brad, you're a huge NASCAR fan. How'd you get into the sport?
You know, I've always, being from South Mississippi, you kind of grow up watching NASCAR, you know, but once we got going with our career, our first record coming out in 2000 and stuff, and that also watching the rise, just of the popularity, just an explosion of popularity in NASCAR in the early 2000s there as well, it kind of attracted us too, and we came into some to talks with Junior and Tony Stewart about coming to be in a video of ours that was on our second record, the song the Road I'm On. And with those guys coming in and being in that video and got to talking to those guys, and I'd met Junior a couple of times before that actually, and got to be friends with Dale, and so with those guys coming to be in that video just kind of led to the relationship. We became huge fans and became like pretty heavily affiliated with NASCAR, and it's been a great relationship and a whole lot of fun for us every time that we cross paths.
Well, we're glad to have you here crossing our paths. Steve, you don't know Dale Jr. at all, right?
Well, I've met him a few times.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, your first time back on the call for NBC. First time back at the track in Nashville. What'd you think?
Brad just said a whole lot of fun. That's what Nashville was all about. It was such a simple and easy relationship, Nashville and NASCAR. We knew the city was going to be turned on up to 10. It was out of control. But the racetrack was perhaps even more impressive than the city. The fans came out, the stands were packed. I love racing, I love calling racing, but it isn't the same without the fans, and it felt, do I dare say, normal again to hear the cheers.
Love to hear it. Brad, you were at the racetrack. What did you think about the experience at Nashville Superspeedway?
It was absolutely awesome. You know, being there with fans, that's the first time in a very long time that I've been at any event with that many people, and it felt so good. It was like welcome back to the real world.
Yeah, we're glad to have the fans back for sure. The fans were crowded in the grandstands. Not going to lie, it was like somebody was cutting onions a little bit pre-race, seeing a packed house for the first time in 37 years to watch the NASCAR Cup Series in Nashville, Tennessee. So, Brad, being around Nashville, was there a buzz in the city about NASCAR returning? Because I know Tennessee fans, they are some big NASCAR fans too.
There was. This city was definitely alive this week. You can see cars around and seeing the race shirts and knowing that people were heading the race, and there was definitely excitement and some energy around.
All right, let's get into left and right now. Steve, I know that the racetrack lived up to the hype. The fans lived up to the hype. What did you think about the racing on track?
So I'll be honest, I kept my optimism low. I've been at Nashville and tested a lot. It used to be a very one-groove racetrack, as awful as that may sound. It was nothing like that this weekend. NASCAR, Nashville, Goodyear gave a track preparation, I'll call it, for the teams to be able to run 2, 3, 4 lanes. The truck race was good. The Xfinity race was great. And then other than Kyle Larson being unstoppable on Sunday, the rest of the racing was awesome. And that was the advantage of being there in person, is we did see some great racing throughout the field. And I thought it was a great first step. I think we can only continue to improve. The track did throw a curveball to a few of the teams mechanically, but even those challenges, as awful as they are for the teams, is good for the fans and a broadcaster like myself to remind ourselves this isn't that easy.
Yeah, Brad, you were out at the track. I know from a fan perspective, how was the racing on track? What did it look like?
It was awesome. It was great to watch. You know, like you said, Kyle Larson, I mean, he was like 5 seconds out in front, and then the race, and we was watching the race back there. But it was awesome. The truck race was really, really cool too. There was some great racing going on there, and it was just really, really cool. I was at the last race that they had 10 years ago and the one the prior year before that. And it was so cool to see those fans out. It was so cool to see all the fans in the stands and see that place full and know that, like this is in Nashville. It's where I live, and we have an awesome NASCAR race now.
Yeah, we're excited about it too. And both of you guys said it. Kyle Larson, Lately, that's been the story of the season. A very happy Father's Day once again for Kyle Larson. He led 264 laps on Sunday. He now sits only 10 points behind Denny Hamlin. Hamlin had such a strong lead atop the points leaderboard, but amazing what winning the last 3 points races will get you for Larson. Brad, does Kyle Larson win the regular season championship?
I'll tell you what, if it keeps on going the way that it's going, he's going to dominate it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Steve, what you got?
I'm going to take the counter. I say no. I mean, he's taking this hot streak just to catch Denny Hamlin. He's still behind him. I know it's an easy storyline to say he's going to continue. I've been on hot streaks. They don't last forever. I can assure you. I may not be in the TV booth if they did. So, no, I don't think so. Variety of racetracks. Kyle's laying great, but I don't think we should discount Denny Hamlin. He knows the value of that championship. I think it's going to be a great battle through the summer.
All right, well, I hate to tell you this, Steve. We asked the fans at home to weigh in. 87% said yes, Kyle Larson was going to win the regular season championship. So,
listen, the fans disagree with me a lot, so I'm not really surprised here either.
Yeah, you guys can find him on Twitter if you want to give him a little crap, too. He always likes a good time on Twitter.
For sure.
Okay, well, time for a little bit of refuel in a segment we like to call the drive-through. So, Brad, you're new here to the backseat. These are fast, quick, easy hits. Nashville, Las Vegas, Music City, whatever you want to call it, it's a good time. So, Brad, we're starting with the Nashville local. Favorite bar on Broadway?
I'm going to have to go with Tootsie's. Tootsie's, I mean, there's others around, and Broadway's changed a lot over the last couple of years. But Tootsie's has always been the staple, and it's the first one you see as you're getting down there. And it's the one that you have to stop in. It's got so much history. And I can just personally remember some pretty funny stories going on there. So I'm going with Tootsie's.
Yeah, I am going to agree. Tootsie's is my favorite. 5 stories of country music you've had me sold.
Well, Tootsie's is a great one. I think I would go with basically any bar on Nashville that I'm in. The truth, though, is I'm going a little bit different feel. I like Paradise Park.
Okay.
I like a little understated, maybe a little
Yeah.
booth in the back. Let's see. I think Brad agrees. Paradise Park is a hidden gem. I almost didn't want to tell people about it because it's the place you can always find a little hidden dark corner to have a beer.
I like it. Maybe we'll get them on a NASCAR paint scheme here soon. Daniel Suarez carried that Tootsie's paint scheme in the 99. It looked pretty sharp, that purple car there. Well, the only team celebrating with champagne showers right now is Hendrick Motorsports. They've won every race since May 16th. They're obviously the best right now in the garage. Steve, second best organization.
You got to take Joe Gibbs Racing. Penske getting better, SHR improving, but in the end, even though Joe Gibbs Racing had a rough go of it with the 19 car not being very well, Denny Hamlin having his issues late, I still think Joe Gibbs Racing is the team that's going to give Hendrick its run over the summer.
Who's the best right now in that organization?
Kyle Busch. A rough day at Nashville, but it's Kyle Busch.
I like
Busch. His radio will say entertaining. I'm not sure we could play much on the NBC broadcast, but I still think Kyle Busch is going to be the guy.
Yeah, I tweeted during the race, death taxes and Kyle Busch unhappy on the radio. So it's kind of true to par of Kyle Busch. Brad, who is the second best organization in the garage? Obviously, we're sticking with Hendrick being number 1, but who are you going with P2 right now?
I have to agree all around. Joe Gibbs and Kyle Busch is not my favorite driver, but he's a good driver.
Yeah, he is definitely a good driver at that. Okay, Kevin Harvick has had 9 wins in 2020. So it's kind of a question mark as to what Kevin Harvick is doing this season and why those wins have not showed up so far. But Brad, the way Kyle Larson is running right now, will he have the over or under 9 wins with Kevin Harvick in 2020? What does Kyle Larson accomplish in 2021?
Under. That's
Under.
Yeah, I'm out to go under with that. Because, like you said, streaks don't last forever.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't take the over and say he's not going to be the champion, so I'm going to have to go under as well. I think he's going to get close. I think he's going to have 7, 8, close to 9 at the end of the regular season, or at least end of the playoffs, but I don't see over 9. Double digits, we've seen it a few times. That's a hard task.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, speaking of Harvick, that Gravedigger paint scheme was top-notch. So, Brad, being a Monster Jam fan, I know I'm throwing this to you. Was that the best paint scheme you've seen? Keelan Harvick did pretty good with that Father's Day gift, didn't he?
That was hands down the best paint scheme. And I seen that paint scheme earlier in the week on the Instagram, I think, and I was looking forward to going to the race and seeing that car. And I was glad that they had a model sitting out front with the Gravedigger, and had to get a picture by it. And that was just a great car. It looked great on the track. And growing up being a huge NASCAR fan, I did not grow up wanting to be a rock star. I grew up wanting to drive monster trucks, and so to see the Gravedigger car out on the track was pretty amazing for me.
Steve, best paint scheme?
Well, now I'm thinking I wanted to be a rock star but couldn't sing, so I ended up in racing. The Gravedigger scheme was great because it was authentic. It looked just like it. It was outstanding. Dale Jr. labeled it his favorite of the year. It's way up there. There's been some other great ones, but I think the social media thing, Keelan being involved, kind of won me over, so it'll get my vote.
Yeah, I agree. The fire suit was also top-notch. So, Harvick, kudos to you this weekend. Steve and I were singing some Three Doors Down before cameras started rolling, so well-versed and well-played on our playlist. Steve, favorite Three Doors Down song?
I mean, you have to go like Kryptonite? You have to go like the original? I mean, I know I should have a more original answer, but what makes these videos real is honesty, so there you go. The most well-known, that's probably still my favorite.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you don't know every word to that song, you're lying. Brad, what's your favorite Three Doors Down song? A little biased, are you?
A little bit, I guess, but if I had to pick like one song that would represent me, and it wouldn't be the best representative of our whole catalog, but I try to take off our second record, Away from the Sun. I go through kind of having favorites of ours, but that's probably my favorite the most. And it's a little bit of a darker song, but I still like it.
Yeah, it's always amazing to hear the stories of the people that wrote them, the musicians. So Steve and I will keep singing Kryptonite on the radio for sure. Brad, we know that you've played a ton of pack houses throughout the years. I know you've taken in some shows too. So what's been your favorite concert you've ever attended?
My favorite concert that I was there as a band playing, but I was transformed right back to being a little kid. We were over in Austria one time playing they have giant outdoor festivals there, and so we were headlining one stage and Metallica was headlining another stage, and I looked over while we were playing, and James Hetfield was watching us, the singer from Metallica, and I was beside myself, and I was really, really honored and thrilled that he was standing there. But after like 2 songs, I was just thinking like, man, I wish he'd go away because it made me so nervous. But like then there's a little bit of gap at those shows, so they give people time to migrate to the other stages. So my security guard at the time was friends with those guys, and I got to stand on the side of the stage and watch Metallica play in front of probably 60,000 people in Austria, and that was one of the coolest experiences of my life. It was awesome.
Yeah, Letarte, can you top that?
I was going to say, I wanted you to go next. I didn't want to fight. So listen, I'm going to go back to my first. My best concert is my first concert when a 14-year-old was taking a White Snake, of all people. So I married an 80s rocker. She loves her 80s music. I will say the original, the throwback to the White Snake. Portland, Maine, small arena. It was good times.
I like it. I'm a little less rock and roll than both of you. I'm like Steve. I'm going with my first concert, Shania Twain. I was just a Southern girl. It was so good. I went with my mom. We were singing all the Shania Twain favorites.
I can see you singing along in my head. This is great.
Well, Shania Twain may be mentioned in this next part. We had some fun with our drivers when it came to musical taste, but there's nothing like a little guilty pleasure song to really get the motors revving. Take a look.
That's a good question.
I'm proud of my music choices. I would say they're all good.
Oh my God, not a lot of them. So yes. But I have to pick one.
You know, I'm going to really wrap myself out here.
I don't have a lot of that I would probably be ashamed to say in public.
So when I was younger, I worked at a go-kart track, and it was Party in the USA.
Party in the USA comes on. I'm not going to change it.
Probably the one that I think of the most is there's this song called Hey, What's Going On? 4 Non-Blondes. That's probably my favorite.
Rihanna's not bad. So like anything from Rihanna.
I feel like everybody was big into Lizzo there for a little bit.
I'm a closet Ace of Base fan. Anytime, any of those songs, I crank it and everybody's like, what is going on? I'm just like jamming in my own world.
I listen to Shaggy at times. I mean, I don't mind singing along to Shaggy because, you know, he's got the accent and everything. It's kind of fun to sing along to, so I'd go with that.
I like Gwen Stefani, and The Sweet Escape, pretty good song.
Go-to Should Have Been a Cowboy by Toby Keith.
I've been listening to a lot of country lately. Luke Combs is like the best right now, I think.
Shania Twain or something, you know?
Shania Twain and Dina Carter. I blare both of those. So really any of their songs, I think I know every word to just about every song on their albums.
It's really kind of the Moana theme right now. And I'm basically The Rock in the Moana song?
My son loves Herbie. So he loves Born to Be Wild because that's in the movie. So we have to play that every time we get in the car and go for a ride or whatever. We just play the Herbie song.
The Moon by the Swell Season. Badass.
I like that Megan Thee Stallion song. I think it's called Body or whatever. I think that's got a good beat to it.
So my dad has had this like weird thing ever since I was a kid. And you know how like SiriusXM has like their love station, like SiriusXM Love? And that was what he listened to. So like anything on SiriusXM Love from like the 80s to the early 2000s, I'm probably pretty well versed.
Well, if the weekend at Nashville Superspeedway just wasn't enough Music City racing for you, which we're okay with that, check out episode 2 of our Return to the Nashville documentary, airing on NASCAR's platforms this Wednesday at 4 p.m. A huge kudos to Eric Moses and his crew at Nashville Superspeedway. An incredible weekend all around. But now it's time to leave Nashville, head to the beautiful Pocono Mountains. The Tricky Triangle is ready for NASCAR's doubleheader weekend. A big challenge for teams, but a huge opportunity to rack up some points. 10 races left into the playoffs. Hard to believe. Lucky for the three of us, a doubleheader means double the picks. So, Brad, we'll start with you. The guest gets first dibs here. I'm going to let you pick 2 drivers to get it done at Pocono. Who are you going with this weekend?
Well, I got to go with Kyle Larson because he's doing so good. And I'm going to go with my buddy because I'm always pulling for Martin Truex Jr. He's a great dude, he's my buddy, and I'm pulling for him always.
All right, I like those picks. Steve, who you
Well,
got?
Truex could use the turnaround for sure. I'm actually going to go with one driver because I'm predicting a sweep, and it comes out of Hendrick Motorsports, and it's not Kyle Larson. I'm going to take William Byron. He's been overshadowed. A lot of talk about Chase, a lot of talk about Kyle Larson, but if you look at the streak, William Byron started the year on, and oh, by the way, the guy who found his way to second yesterday, William Byron for the sweep in Pocono.
All right, I like it. I am also going to pick the 24 for just one of the races. Pocono tends to have a little tricks up its sleeve, so I like Willie B being the unexpected. And then I'm going to go with the 11 to Denny Hamlin this week. Just showed some speed in Nashville, didn't have that point stay he wanted. We'll see.
I mean, his rookie year, he learned that he loved Pocono. Maybe he can rekindle some of that throwback magic.
Yeah. All right, well, let's hope for the 11. A double dose of racing means a great weekend. Brad, thank you so much for joining us. You guys have a big tour coming up, the Better Life 20th Anniversary Tour. It feels good for music to return to the fans and on the road again, doesn't it?
It really, really does. To say that, I know that this year, like the whole old statement, you know, it's good to be here with you guys tonight, it's going to carry a whole lot different weight this year.
Absolutely. We're excited. Fans, you can find those dates for the Better Life 20th Anniversary Tour and purchase tickets for the city closest to you at 3doorsdown.com. Thanks to Steve. As always, you can catch him in the booth calling the races this weekend. Tune in to the NASCAR Cup Series doubleheader weekend at Pocono. First one up Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, and then Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, both on NBCSN. Enjoy the Tricky Triangle, and we'll see you right back here in the back seat next week.